Welcome back to this edition of the Renegade Report. And now I'm joined with very, very special guests. My big brother, equipment specialist and manager, Peter Maglieri. How you doing, sir?
Too kind. Doing well. Yourself?
Hey, just got to call it how I see it, man. You're one of the busiest people in the world.
Appreciate it.
Outside of me, I would say.
Well, definitely, yes. Definitely outside of you. You're always on the go.
Man, it's an honor and dream opportunity to do all this stuff. So, being that we don't get to have a huge chunk of time one-on-one, it's usually us passing each other in the hallway and shaking hands and waving when we're working
our 30
events.
Seconds.
Yeah, so definitely an honor to have you here. So how's things been going on campus, Pete?
Doing well. It's going well. Baseball's rounding down. About 10 to 12 games left. Softball's kicking butt in conference.
Undefeated still, right?
Yeah, they're the same, tennises are going well. Everything's going well.
That's beautiful,
Track's
man.
going strong.
So before we get into the bulk of what's happening on campus, let's do a little bit of a timeline for the world who's listening. I know more about you than the world does, but where are you from originally, Pete?
Originally, I was born in Connecticut, but I consider myself a Southern California kid. I was 4 with my parents when we moved out to a small town called Fallbrook, northern county of San Diego.
Nice.
So, went to high school there. Then I went something you probably don't know. I played 1 year of junior college football at San Diego Mesa.
Never knew you played at Mesa.
1 year in 89, 91 season.
Gotcha.
92-ish.
Yeah,
and then from there.
See, I'm learning something new already. I never knew that, Pete.
Yeah.
So your career as an equipment specialist has been well documented to me. Where are some of the organizations that you've worked for all over the country?
So, after I graduated or finished up at Mesa, I went to LSU. That's where I got my undergrad from.
Nice.
That's how I got into the equipment management field. A buddy of mine who was living in the same dorm I was in said, "Hey, you want to come do this?" And that's how I got into becoming an equipment manager. I was a student manager at LSU. From there, when I graduated from there, a good friend of mine got the job at University of Houston. Wanted an assistant. I said, yeah, sure.
Beautiful.
So I went to Houston for a year. After that, in 98 is when I moved back home to UCLA, or at least to California.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I was at UCLA for 5 years. Then from there to Tulane for about 5. And then after Katrina, we moved back.
Wow. No, and what's funny, I'm glad you brought up Katrina because I left Baton Rouge the year before Katrina, which was Coach Chudy's first season when he was building his staff.
Right.
And, I was going through some things with my family.
Right.
My mother had lost custody of my brothers and sisters, and I knew eventually if I didn't move home that they would be in the system. So, me and Coach came up with a great plan. Hey, I'll hire you as my DB coach, and you can come home and adjust to getting back because I know it's been driving you crazy getting these phone calls while you're in Louisiana and trying to work on beginning your coaching career because that was basically – my segue into Baton Rouge was my career had just ended. Mm-hmm. One of my former coaches went over to help a good friend, Greg Montgomery, who was helping with punters, and I would go help catch punts, and teach the guys who were getting ready to come on campus to, get their elbows together and get ready to play, hoping for a grad assistant's position that next fall. And I ended up leaving before that happened, but great experiences in Louisiana, great people. Amazing food, best food in the world,
definitely,
right?
Definitely.
Yeah, so
definitely.
Transitioning on, you're back home, part of a great family. Your wife is like my big sister. She was my physical trainer when we were players here.
Manager, right?
Yeah, her father, the late, great Mr. Boomerts, one of my favorite people in the world and one of my biggest supporters. When I didn't have a ton of people showing up to watch me play, he would be one of the first people to greet me when I would come off field and talk to me about some of the things that I needed to do better, because he wasn't a guy that
he always
would bite his tongue. He'd tell you what you need to do, right?
Right. Always had something better to do.
Absolutely, man. Rest in peace, Coach B. I keep that ring on every day, representing you, young man. So got a little emotional right there.
Yeah.
But how's family right now?
Doing well. Everyone's doing well.
Absolutely. Little Pete, what sports is he playing right now?
Baseball right now. Baseball and basketball.
Gotcha.
So we're keeping him busy.
That kid's gonna be a superstar, man. He's had a ton of great role models around him to motivate him.
He does. He loves his sports, and he's twice the athlete I was at his age already. So
Man, he might be twice the athlete I was too, man.
But,
As much
he's having so much fun doing his stuff. So Sophia,
beautiful.
my little tap dancer, she's tapping, volleyballing,
cheer.
Yeah,
Volleyball right now, though,
volleyball,
right?
Yeah, volleyball, and then soccer, a little indoor soccer for her.
Absolutely.
She's having a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love seeing the pictures because in a world where you see kids so consumed with cell phones and entertainment, those are some of the busiest kids that I see from a picture perspective. Like every opportunity to get out there, they're doing it, whether it's church, whether it's community service. There's different sports and different opportunities for programs that they have. You can tell they have great leadership from a parental standpoint,
right.
Between you and Carrie.
Right.
And definitely don't get tired of the love that comes your way because you guys have done a lot for people. I remember something that you probably forgot when you assisted my son with a pair of shoes from UCLA. This was about 6 years ago, I want to say, where you gave me a pair of shoes for my son, and that's one of the things that kind of inspired us to do what we did, from a cleats drive.
Okay.
Yeah. You forgot that, didn't you?
I think, I did. I did.
See?
I remember now, but I mean, it's coming back, but yeah, I did forget that. I did.
Yeah. Really, it's just an example of how much great stuff you guys do for people, you know what I mean? And speaking of great stuff, 2 weeks ago we had the Memorial Stadium Memory Lane edition, and Pete was nice enough to help me get all geared up. I went back. We had the Memorial Lane edition where we talked about the field before it went into the remodel, and Pete allowed me to come in and get suited up. Wasn't even a question. I was in there and out within 10 minutes. Felt like I was ready to play again, man.
Yeah, I think you probably have some eligibility left.
Man, I'll give you one good series. That's it. That's it, Pete. That's all I got.
I don't know about that. You're still in good shape. You may have to.
Man. These bones ain't in good shape. The skin and my look on the outside might be good. The inside is all beat up, man. But Pete, more than anything, the impact that you guys have had, from a behind the scenes perspective is why I was excited when Mr. Yuri told me that you can come on today because I know how busy you are. Every time I call you, you're in the middle of something, which is why I hate calling you. You know what I mean? Usually, if I'm calling you, I had to call you. I'm like, Pete. How can I help? But all the things that you do, it just symbolizes the importance of why I need to say this. Never underestimate the impact that you have on people, man. You've traveled the world. You've traveled the country. You've done so many great things that you forget about them because you're not a person that does stuff for the recognition, and that's how you are.
No, I mean, that's, my position. It's a behind-the-scenes guy, and it always will be. Rarely will an equipment guy get recognition for winning a Super Bowl, winning a World Series. So and that's just the position it is. It's fun. I'm fine with that, and I like it. And it just, the only time we get recognition is when Zion Williams busts his shoe out. It's
I know, right?
Yeah. So
but
that's when the equipment guy comes into, hey, in the question, but otherwise it's a behind the scenes position and it's fine. I'm good with it.
Well, speaking of behind the scenes, one of the things or the benefits about being behind the scenes and all these great experiences is being part of some great players and great staffs.
Yep.
So let's talk about that for a second because I know some of the players that you've had a chance to be around and assist with their development. So from your perspective, just throw out a couple of names of some of the players and coaches, because this is important that people know this. Throw out some of the names of players and coaches.
The list is long, but
over your career.
So if I can, going back to LSU. Okay, so our head coach went from Curly Hallman to Jerry DiNardo at the time. A good friend of mine, Gabe Northern. He played for
Mr. Northern.
Buffalo Bills. More well-known name is Kevin Fault.
Yes, one of my favorite running backs of all time. He was from the hometown of one of my defensive
Karen
backs.
Crow.
Yes,
and multiple Super Bowl winner with the Patriots.
Yes,
that's just a few names I can remember from LSU. But then when I went at UCLA my first time, it's Deshaun Foster, Skip Hicks, Cade McNown, Freddie Mitchell.
Oh, my boy Freddie. That's my boy right there.
So Dave Ball, Robert Thomas, a bunch of,
yes.
I mean,
Amazing talent that you've been around, right?
It's unbelievable. Yeah, when I sit back and think, it just kind of.
And that's why I hit you with that curveball, Pete, because I know that's stuff that,
Right.
It's an afterthought for you, but I know the kind of caliber of talent that you've been around, not even mentioning our talented pool of athletes that come through here, but you've had world-class athletes who you've assisted, and I'm sure they feel exactly the way I do from a support perspective of having people like you there for them.
Right. So you don't realize it until you sit back and actually think about who's come through the halls of where you've worked, and just like, man, this kid.
Knowing them from the beginning of their careers, right?
Last week he was, walking the halls, and now I'm watching him on TV.
Absolutely. And the one reason I brought that up is because I know that those players have that special relationship with you, and they know how valuable you are to the process, because I remind people, hey, when we show up on campus as football guys, my best friends were the equipment guys. I Andre Eddington, Ray Miranda, Randy, all the people who've had the opportunity to be in that cage, were people that I looked up to, and I held them in the highest regard, just like I held every coach. And that's what people outside of the locker room don't understand. Right. You're just as important as Coach Chudy is, because you're going to have more interaction with players on a day-to-day basis than the head coach does sometimes. There's days where some players don't even talk to the head coach. They just talk to their position coaches, but they talk to you every day, right?
Yeah. They come in the locker room, say what's going on, we chat, you try. I mean, some guys you can tell, long day, struggling. You try to kind of say, hey, what's going on? Try, just
we're all counselors, right?
Yeah, exactly. In one way or another, we are. Yeah,
absolutely. And that's the beautiful thing about the experience, and why I was excited to have you, because people underestimate the value of every piece of the program. It's important that fans understand that there's more that just goes on than just the game.
Right.
The work that you guys put in hour after hour when everybody else goes home, after practice, you guys are there 3 more hours, getting gear and things prepared for the next day so we can be successful, and that cannot be underestimated.
Well, we're considered if you're looking at like a country band or like a rock and roll band, we're roadies.
Yes.
We're the first to show up, last to leave.
Absolutely.
And that's how we've what approach you take it, and
great comparison. And I work in music and film a lot, and there's a lot of times where I'm nowhere near the front of the stage, but I've been there just as long as everybody that you just got cheering for, and got paid just the same amount as they got paid. Like I remind people, like, do you know I got paid more as a sound man than the artist did tonight? You know what I mean?
Right.
Because we're all equally important.
Right. And that's it.
Yeah. So Pete, more than anything, having this opportunity, seeing you be able to come back home, into California after coaching at UCLA or working at UCLA, commuting 2.5 hours when me and Carrie were working at that old agency that I won't mention. I was proud of you in the fact that I know you needed that from a perspective of, man, this guy's been all over the world and he's tired. Yeah. Let's give him something closer to home so he can get something done and still do what you love to do, right?
Yeah. It was a great opportunity. The drive was starting to wear. It is. I mean, it does. It's not a short drive. So, and it's just an opportunity to get back here, back home. I mean, style of, living, an opportunity to watch my son, my kids, do their sports, do their performances at school, be able to, go to that assembly where, my daughter's getting her core virtue. And, so it brought that back. I mean, UCLA was great. They would allow me to miss days and stuff like that. But I'm here more than, obviously, than I was. More of an opportunity to do stuff a little more now, a lot more now.
Absolutely. And I'm sure, being the great guy with great character that you do have, you can go and visit everywhere that you've left because you left in good standing, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's the beauty of the journey and why it's important that people like you are celebrated, Pete. So, I know we don't have a ton of time to spend around each other, but never underestimate your impact on me, man. You know,
Thank
you guys have been family for me
Well,
for
yeah.
decades, man.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people don't know that, you know, I was once a kid that didn't have a lot of support, and the Boomer Maglieri family were some of the people that came to the forefront and stayed and waited to make sure I had someone to hug after a great game. And those moments gave me the appetite and desire to continue to be successful, so I could make sure that you knew that your effort wasn't wasted on me.
Well, you've known my wife's family for over 30 years.
Absolutely.
You know, my wife and I have been married almost 18, so that's, you know,
Absolutely.
we're going on that. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and true family relationship, like, shoot, just like we came out the same womb.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll forever treasure that, man.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you.
No, I appreciate you too. You know, it's a great friendship.
Absolutely. Well, hey,
You know, I'm proud to call you friend.
man, well, definitely an honor, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hey, this has been Kenny Cal. I almost got emotional right there. I had to bring it back in. This has been Kenny Calvin with the greatest equipment specialist in the game, Mr. Peter Maglieri, my big bro. We'll be right back after this break with some Renegade recaps and talk about some action, as well as how excited I was to see my son graduate from MP school last week, right after this.